I have no earthly idea. Does that answer your question?
You know what? If we could train my stepmother, we'll be able to get you on board too.
Ivana, help me.
Help you. I'll help you.
See, if my internet was on, you know, if cable would work occasionally, then I'd be fine. I think. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
It's a little soft on my end. Is it okay on your end, Jovi?
Yeah, I can hear you.
I'm trying to hear you. It's a little soft.
Put your volume up a little bit, Sally.
I think that's as high as it goes. You know, see,
Okay.
I got rid of my 8 and I've got a 20, you know, and I have no earthly idea how to work it, but this is the highest the volume will go on it.
Actually, right where you are, wherever you're talking, now I can hear you. Before it sounded like you were like a room away from me, but now it sounds like you're right next to me. Okay.
Oh, I'm actually in the living room because if I took you in the bedroom, man, you would say, "Oh my God, this woman don't even get her laundry hung up." No. All right. Probably because I moved the phone up closer. Maybe I had it too far away.
Okay. It's working fine now. Good. Well, it's nice to meet you, Sally. Thanks for seeing what this is about and seeing how we can help you. So can you give me a little briefing of where you are up until this point? Like, how is your diet? Where are you? I think you're at 203 cholesterol and you're 6.1 A1C. Is that what I read?
Yes.
Okay.
And also, see, I've been through chemo 4 different times. I've had cancer 4 different times in my life. And my gastro problem, it just started because I have gastritis. And yeah, I need to get my cholesterol down, which I've started. And I've started on the A1, get it down. Because I got rid of all those men that were hiding in my closet, like Mr. J and Mr. Lays and Chester, and they all disappeared one night. So in other words, I got rid of all my junk food, all my fried stuff. So I'm actually doing pretty good. You know, so I have one more appointment, and then I'm through until 3 months from now.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're not putting you on a statin, are they? I hope not.
No. I won't take those because see, some of the chemo I've had over the years was research, and there are certain things that I cannot put into my system.
Right.
You know, the first research I did was back in '82, and at Rush Presbyterian, it used to be Rush Presbyterian St. Luke at one time. And they inserted these radium, they were called pellets back then. There was 15 in the group and only 1 died and the rest of us survived. And after 20 years, they start dissipating. These are the seeds that they use for men for prostate cancer. So I have to be very careful of what I put into my system because everything I eat is organic. I do not eat chicken or anything that has got chemicals in it. Everything has to be farm raised. And, you know, I go to Whole Foods to get my chickens. My fish cannot be farm raised. So I have always been like that. And I eat a lot of vegetables, but I can't buy vegetables where they just might have come out of, they can come out of Johnny Jump Up's garden because I know he didn't use any chemicals on it. But a lot of stuff you buy in the stores today have got wax on them and they freeze the apples before they get here because they'll die. So I have to be careful of everything I put into my system. Okay.
Well, it sounds like you've done some research. That's most people don't know anything about that with the wax and freezing the apples, how they keep them alive until they get them to the stores and everything. So that you're on the right track. I mean, you've got the organic chicken. If you eat beef, grass-fed, obviously, not conventional, and wild fish, and it sounds like you're doing all that. So you're eating the right things. How much do you weigh?
I weigh 142 pounds.
How tall are you?
Oh, I'm shrinking. I'm 5'4" now. because when you're 75, you start, your bones start disintegrating basically,
Right.
and a lot of the research chemo I did back when I was younger, it kind of helped with the bone density and stuff like that, which
Okay.
I was warned of it when I signed the papers for the research group.
Mhm.
And, in 75, you do start losing it.
Everybody does, right? That's why working out, exercise is even more, I mean, it's important throughout life, but as you get older, it becomes even more important, especially for women, which is the case with the bone density. We've got to keep that up to keep your bones strong, not only the calcium, but calcium by itself is not, it's useless because it can't get into the bone. So you need the vitamin D3, you need the phosphorus and the vitamin K2. Uh,
Mhm.
are you taking any supplements, D3, K2, phosphorus or anything?
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm. Yeah. And see, and right now I can't exercise because my arthritis is so bad. And the gym I was going to, I could exercise, but now it's like I can't because I don't want to go there and catch any diseases and stuff. And I have to be careful because, like I said, I have arthritis pretty bad in my feet and my back. And I've always gotten shots. I've had both hips replaced on account of arthritis. And I got a knee, but me and my knee are we got a good thing going on now. My orthopedic guy, he says, I've never seen anybody that will not. I says, Doc, it's only in the corner. And by walking 21 steps up and 21 steps down, it does not bother me. So yeah, I'm pretty good at taking care of my health. I really watch a lot of stuff. It
Okay.
was just that them three guys got control of me there for a while. I mean, you're watching a football game or a baseball game and you eat potato chips and you eat Chester's Cheetos and stuff like that. And I was eating a lot of it. Okay.
So that's where the arthritis came from. So it's coming from the
Uh,
refined
that's came from
and the sugar.
cholesterol. Cholesterol went up real high with that.
Well, yeah. So arthritis, anything that ends with the itis means an inflammation. So inflammation, because you're eating pretty clean. Do you drink alcohol at all?
God, no, I quit a long time ago. I quit smoking a long time ago. Arthritis is hereditary, osteoarthritis. And everyone in my family, my grandparents on both sides, my aunts, my uncles, my parents, my brother, all three of my brothers, one of them is gone now, he passed away. But we all had and have arthritis.
Okay. All right. So a lot of these chronic diseases, arthritis being one of them, diabetes being another, heart disease, all these are
Hmm.
diseases that we can control mainly. So you may be predispositioned to a disease, but it doesn't mean you're going to get it. It's your environmental factors, your epidemiology, the things that you're allowing into your body, whether it be stress or the foods you eat or alcohol, lack of exercise. Lack of exercise also creates inflammation. So we need to get the inflammation down. How long has it been since you got rid of all the three evil guys in your closet?
Okay, we're going on a year now. They moved
Oh,
out.
so it's been a while. Okay.
Yeah, it's been a while. I don't eat bad now. I don't eat sugar. Um, I drink decaf coffee, 1 cup, because I'm not supposed to have caffeine,
Okay.
because it triggers the problems in the gastro system.
Mhm.
And yeah, and what little cow I eat, it's got to be Angus and it's got to be farm raised. And most of my meat I get from a guy downstate. He used to come to the farmer's market, and I've got his phone number, and his son delivers any kind of cow I want. I don't eat pork. I gave up pork when it became white. But no. I grew up on a farm, and we had hog killing time. We had cow killing time. Chickens were always the staple on Sunday. It was the proverbial church bird, you know.
Mhm.
And now that they put so much junk, the government puts so much junk into your animals that I won't eat them. And when I saw a hog confinement, when I moved back here from Greece back in the early 80s, because my brother and his wife lived in Iowa, And if you've never seen a hog confinement, it is sad to see the little pigs. It's just like with the little calf, and they were making veal, and where he's chained to the inside of this little thing so that he don't walk around, and that's why veal is white. Well, the pigs are in this long concrete low building, and they have these bars that keep them in these little separations. And the only thing they do is they roll a bowling ball back and forth with their snoot. This is how it became white meat. I couldn't figure out why a pig was white.
Hmm.
You know, and people never think about that. It's like they're not raised humanely anymore. Not that they should be out in the way they used to be in the country, but they need to roam free.
Right.
So, and the only fish I eat, they have to come from the sea and from the oceans.
Wild caught.
Yeah, I will not eat farm raised fish.
Good. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. So you're ahead of me. Okay.
I'm sorry, Christopher. I got a few years on you, kid. You know.
Do you know what that farmer feeds his cows? Even though it comes from a private farm, it really depends on what the cow is eating. What is the cow eating?
They're grass fed.
What's that?
Grass fed.
Grass fed. Okay. And is that a lot of farms grass feed them up till 6 months before slaughter, and then they feed them corn so they can fatten them up. So it's grass fed finish also.
The grass fed finish also, and he's certified and everything. Okay.
Oh,
But I don't eat that much cow either. I just don't really like the taste of it sometimes. I'm more
okay.
of a chicken and a fish.
Okay.
More fish than chicken sometimes. Mhm.
So what are you eating? Are you just eating salmon? Are you eating cod? What else are you eating besides?
Salmon, cod, whitefish, halibut, and sometimes swordfish.
Okay.
Swordfish.
Have you ever had your mercury level checked because you eat a lot of seafood?
Yes, I have.
Okay. And you're okay with that, I assume?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, the swordfish will have the highest mercury level out of the fishes that you listed. So, yeah, if you're okay, then you're okay. Cool.
Yeah. Okay. Because see, I lived in Greece for over 12 years, and my
Mhm.
father-in-law would walk down to the sea and get a little newspaper, and the fish would be wrapped up in it right from the fishermen. Everything came right out. We lived 2 blocks from the sea.
Wow.
So, and I grew up down south. We grew up with river catfish, and none of us died. So so I'm pretty healthy. It's just that it's disgusting right now because I can't get out. I can't go and do what exercise I was doing because my gym up the street is closed and it's open, but I won't go there because it's not very clean. I mean,
Right.
they provide you with stuff, but it's like, no, I just need to stay home and not catch anything right now.
Yeah, you're in that high risk category with
Mm-hmm.
the age and the past cancer.
Yeah. I go to
How,
work one day a week. Oh, I'm sorry.
how long have you been in remission?
Actually, I had a little flare up not too long ago,
Hmm.
and it was a condition that they thought they had gotten control of it, but every once in a while, because I mean, we're born with cancer cells,
Right.
and when you get that, I'm sure maybe you and Giovanna both might have heard your mother say, one rotten apple in the barrel can turn them all.
Right.
Well, all you need is 1 or 2 little bad cancer cells, and they can turn those white blood cells, the natural ones we came with. So
Right.
I keep check on that. I go to a Mayo Clinic quite often, and that's where I've done all my research there. And the program that I was in at Rush Presbyterian St. Luke, back when it was all, the name of it back in the 80s was that was the Mayo Clinic group that got that research group together. And I just got over Barrett's esophagus. Okay, this is 2000. This was in 2001, 2002. And every once in a while, there'll be one little rotten guy running around in there. And they told me, sometimes you cannot get all of it, or it might
Right.
be one good one and it turns. And So yeah, and I just had a flare up right before I moved back here because I used to live in Elmwood Park for about 20 years, and then I moved out to Elk Grove Village. And I was already started with just little doses of chemo, nothing major, not like some of the ones I've had where there would be 5 chemicals and stuff like that in it.
Mhm.
And then I just dealt with a little bit. This is December, somewhere in July, June, somewhere right along in there. And it might have been before, well, no, it was actually before this pandemic stuff started. It was last year when I first moved back here and I was having to go just for this little tiny injection of it because they did not want to put me on anything heavier because it was just a minor little section and it was maybe 3 little cells had decided they wanted to cause me some problems. So yeah, and I trust the chemo doctors, cancer doctors I work with, because 2 of them are the sons of the first doctor I ever had up at Mayo. These were his sons, and sometimes they'll fly down if I run into a problem. They will actually fly down because they remember when they were young when I started out with their father. And a lot of times him and his wife would invite me over because I'd have to stay a couple of days up there. And they would have me stay in their home and feed me and stuff like that. So the sons know me. And their father, he finally passed away. He was almost 90 years old, just the middle of last year. And
Mm.
so, yeah, and I had gone to him. He was the doctor I always had. So, and the first real beginning of it was I had cancer. I had to have a complete hysterectomy right after I had my second daughter. So yeah, and that happened in 75, actually New Year's Eve of 75 going into 76 was the
Mm.
first time. So, and my father and my one brother died of cancer. My grandfather and my grandmother on my father's side died of cancer. So it's like something, they don't say it's hereditary, but it can run in your genetic line,
I totally agree, right? But it's the what you do in your body that makes it happen. So yeah, so it was prostate cancer, I assume, from the males. Yeah, I just learned that. I didn't know that until a couple of weeks ago that the tissue in the prostate is the same tissue in the uterus. So that's why the guys get the prostate cancer, the women get the ovarian cancer.
Right. Well, actually, basically when we are created, we can be either or.
Right.
Yes. And that's the reason why you have people that are born and they have both parts. And, and that's why I can understand when people tell you that this is the way I was born, because a lot of times, yeah, you're male, but a lot of the chemicals in your body didn't quite switch over because you still were that determining between male, female while you were living inside of your mother.
Right.
Yeah. So,
And that's why males have nipples also,
I
because
know that's why you have to be checked for breast cancer because whatever a woman has, basically a man does. Your prostate basically, would be part of us, That's the reason why I had uterine cancer.
right.
And instead of being a guy and having prostate cancer, I had uterine cancer. So yeah, and the doctors have explained a lot of that because they know how open-minded I am about a lot of things. And people, they make judgment of other people and stuff, which is wrong because I have some really close friends that happen to be homosexuals. And I was joking with a couple of them because we've known each other for the 50 years I've been in this city. And there was a man, he was a preacher, and I think his wife was running for public office way back then, Bachman or something. And he used to tell people, get on your hands and knees and pray for the gay people. They'll go straight. I called up my friend down in Florida, him and his buddy. I said, hey, are you, I'm hollering at you because I got rug burns. I got them on my forehead, my knees, my elbows. And the one guy, Paulie, he says, hell, Sally, what have you been doing? I've been praying. Are you guys straight yet? And they were laughing their butt off. And it does. The people do not choose. You know, just like, a lot of people think, oh, you just decide. No, basically, I was born that way. So now I have a lot of diverse friends, and we've all stuck up for each other over the years and everything. So yeah, prostate cancer. Now that I've preached, do I get a badge?
No, I'm just glad that we're both on the same page.
Yeah. Mhm. Do you ever, after this pandemic thing is over, I'm going to try to come to a meeting, actually in person, if you ever start doing that.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely. We can meet at your place. We can meet at my place, at Jovi's place. In fact, that's how we started this whole thing 2 years ago.
Oh,
We would all meet over at Jovi's place, but COVID made this happen, which made people like you be able to be aware of the group, because it was very isolated, just to the sort small secluded
uh-huh.
family of Joey. But it's been growing. So yeah, we can meet once this coronavirus is over and done with.
Yeah. I will see. I mean, it bothers me. There's so many people that think there's nothing to it. And there is. I mean, we wouldn't have this many people dying if there wasn't something real about it. And my oldest grandson, he's 22 years old. He's studying to be a radiology technician. And he is going into his junior year. So he's doing a clinical walkthrough, and he has a an actual doctor with him showing him. And he called me and he says, Granny Sally, this was what I did on my first clinical walkthrough and everything. He says, I saw the lungs of a person that has Corba. And I said, well, what is it? He says, it looks like a window that has shattered. It just looks like a shattered window, not the window broken out, but how it splits and everything. Or if you drop your cell phone and the glass just shatters on your phone. And he saw a couple other things, and he says, this thing is really serious. That's why I've actually taken it seriously, because I personally will not, I refuse to take myself and put myself in a situation of getting sick anymore.
Mhm.
Because I've lived with this stuff since I was 31 years old. And
Yeah.
I'm not ready to get on the merry bus and fly away. Okay. I want to see my grandson get married and have children. I want to stay as long as my body will stay. It's like an old car, this falling apart and that kind of falls apart. And if you don't take care of it, it's if you don't take your car to the garage and have the mechanics fix it, that's how your body is too.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned that, because that leads me right into what I was going to ask. How was your sleeping?
How
Your
is my
sleep?
sleeping?
Do you
My
sleep?
I'm sorry, pardon me, you went out and
Do you sleep throughout the entire night without waking up, or are you up sporadically?
no. My bladder wakes me up.
Okay.
I drink roughly about 64 ounces of water a day to flush, the gastro part of my system. And I take this one pill, it's dicyclamine, and it's to help push the stuff out of your intestines, okay, to the backside of your body. And I
Did,
drink a lot of water.
did I hear you right? You only drink 4 to 6 ounces of water per day?
Yeah, I drink 64 ounces of water.
Oh, 64. I thought you said 4 or 2,
No,
6.
no, no, no. 64 ounces a
Okay,
day.
so that's a half a gallon.
Hmm. So my bladder tells me, you better get up and go to that room. It's not having to go to the outhouse when you live in the country. And I
Right.
wake up, I go to bed about 9 o'clock now, and I'm sound asleep within 15, 20 minutes. I
That's
wake
good.
up at 1:30, and I go to the bathroom, I go back to bed. My cat tries to wake me up at 4 o'clock in the morning, touching me with her paws and stuff. So about 5:30, I get up and I feed her. I get in my recliner and turn around and go right back to sleep. I
Okay.
get a lot of sleep.
But you're waking up. So what happens is that we have circadian rhythms. Have you ever heard that term, circadian rhythm?
No, I don't think
So
I
for
have.
example, the daylight sun comes up, sun goes down. That's a circadian rhythm. It's the day-night cycle, they call it.
Yeah.
So every living organism in our planet has a circadian rhythm. So the seasons is another circadian rhythm. Our sleep and wake cycles are circadian rhythms. So if you're disturbing your sleep cycle, then your wake cycle is going to be disrupted, and it's also going to disrupt your appetite hormones. Once one hormone is off, then it's like a domino effect. Every hormone starts going off. So because we don't work, and this is why medications don't work, because they target one area. That's not how our bodies work. Our bodies work as a systemic machine. So if we're just focused on one area, it's not going to do us any good. So we need to get all these hormones back to working properly. So why don't we start off with the sleep? To help, we're gonna have to make a couple corrections here. Your water intake, tell me how you're drinking the water. Are you drinking it throughout the day? Do you drink more of it at nighttime? Do you drink more of it during the day? How do you do it?
During the day.
And when do you stop drinking water?
I stop about 6 o'clock in the evening.
Okay, and you go to bed at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Okay, so what I do, because I drink a gallon of water a day, and that's why I try to get everybody to do, because it cleanses out all the toxins out of you, detoxifies the body, cleans your blood and everything. So you know all that stuff. So what I recommend is drinking 3/4 of the amount of water by 12 o'clock. And then kind of like slow it down. And then in your case, because you're done drinking at 6 o'clock, let's bring it down to 5 o'clock before you go to bed. Because that should be able to have you go to the bathroom before you go to bed, and then you should be able to get through the night. If not, then we'll have to bring it back even further. I've gone I used to compete with bodybuilding in college. I would stop drinking water at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon so that my body would dehydrate throughout the night for the contest, what I was doing the next day. But the longer we can go before you go to bed of not drinking any water, you should be able to make it through the night. Okay. And it might not happen overnight. It might not happen in one day, but it might take like a couple of weeks for it to happen. The other thing is to close the door so the cat can't get in and wake you up.
She sleeps in my bed.
And
Yeah,
yeah,
no. She would be meow, meow, outside the door. No, she sleeps on the other side of my bed. But when it's early in the morning and the sun is coming up, she's like, okay, you got to get up. But then I end up going right back to sleep. I don't stay up. Yeah.
It's just that the sleep cycle is this is one of the reasons why newborn parents are sick all the time, because they're up constantly taking care of the child. They go back to sleep, they wake up, take care of the child, go back to sleep. So their body is like what you said with the car. If you don't bring the car in to get serviced, it's going to start breaking down. So when you're sleeping, that's the time that you're bringing your body into the car shop for it to be repaired. And it goes through 5 different sleep cycles. And it goes different sleep cycles that your body has to go through to be able to repair itself from all the damage that you do throughout the day. And if you don't do that, you start deteriorating more and more and more.
Okay. Well.
Okay, so let's try a couple changes here, see what you can do. And I understand when the cat, if it's not in its normal routine that you have it in, and it's not sleeping in your bed, it's going to be crying. And it's just that's the way it was trained. So
14, she's 14 years old. She was abused. They found her on the street and I adopted her. So she's had a rough 14 years. Okay. And she does. She sleeps on her side of the bed at the foot.
yeah.
And then when it hits about 5 o'clock in the morning, somewhere right along in there, then it's like, okay, Mom, I got to eat. I'm hungry. And she will. And she comes back to bed. Sometimes she'll lay on the floor while I'm sleeping in the recliner. So
How about this? Can you leave the cat food by the bed so she can just go eat and then go back to sleep?
no, she don't eat dry food. She can't eat dry food. It has to be wet food. And if I leave it there, then it's going to dry out. Then she'll get sick. Yeah. So.
Okay. Let's try just cutting back on the water a little bit earlier than 6 o'clock.
I will. As long as I can. I have to get a certain amount in my system because of the blood pressure pill and that dicyclone stuff. And I'll start out when I wake up and close. I'll stop around 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So that basically I have emptied my bladder before I go to bed.
Right. Okay. All right. How is your stress level?
My stress level is good. It's just aggravating that you can't really go anywhere. You can't get a lot of things done. Um, I've done most of my shopping for my grandchildren and my two daughters and their husband online. My stress level was really, really bad the other day because somebody tried to hack into one of my credit cards.
Hmm.
And luckily, I have a friend. She's been a friend for a long, long time. Her husband is an FBI agent, and I got a hold of her. And he came and he says, "Okay, what's going on?" And I showed him and on my phone, and I was recording this whole conversation with this. And so he has two friends that work in the cyber security, and they were able to track where it happened and how it happened. I had bought something, and instead of putting my credit card back in the little case I have, that's supposed to be, you can't, with a scan, whatever your thing is, and I just stuck it in the pocket of the purse. And when I left, and these guys passed by me, and evidently that's how they were able to scan it in my purse.
Yeah.
Well, it was like 5, 6 hours later, they were able to track where these guys were. There were 6 of them, and it was at North Riverside. They lived in North Riverside, and they were all 6 Indian guys. And they actually went and arrested them. They went and arrested them. They got all of this equipment that they had there and everything. So,
Oh, good.
so yeah, my
Yes.
stress level went up really, really high, and my anxiety attack happened. And I do every once in a while take a pill for anxiety because my heart gets fast, and and old people die of heart attacks. So do
We don't.
young people. So do young people too. I shouldn't say that. So, so yeah, but I don't have it very often. I work 1 day a week. I've worked with my boss for over 40 years. I've been his accountant for 40 years. And, you know, that going out, getting dressed and dressed up and going out and going to work for a few hours. That's how I met Giovanna. She
Oh,
worked at the bank where we had our account at. And yeah, and I couldn't believe how much weight she had lost when I saw her. And that's how she told me about you and everything. But no. And so, and I come back home. That's it. I come back home, I cook supper, and I eat around 4 o'clock. I don't eat late.
right.
I used to with my potato chips and my Chester Cheetos, and no more snacks. All it is like fruit. And I go to Whole Foods to get my fruit because Caputo's over here, it's all got wax on it. And
Right.
you can, and you shouldn't eat that peel on it because it's got wax. I don't need wax in my gut,
Right.
so yeah, and I go to Whole Foods and Trader Joe's a lot.
Okay. How much fruit do you eat per week? And what
Mm,
type?
I eat raspberries, blueberries, apples. I love apples a lot. Um, I eat oranges, but I have to be careful because the acid bothers my stomach.
Right.
And don't drink orange juice because only place I'll get orange juice from is when I actually watch them make it. When in the store. And Mariano's is good for that because you can actually see them making the orange juice. And you know, other than that, that's basically it. Bananas, I don't particularly care for. I think I ate a whole lot of those when I was a kid or something. But no, it's basically apples, a few oranges, um, blueberries, and raspberries. And I had to be careful with raspberries because of the seeds that's in them because I have diverticulitis. And I
Right.
don't want to get my diary all filled up and then it starts acting up. And, because I don't know if you've ever had diverticulitis, but it's not a happy feeling when they
Yeah,
start.
I forgot about the seeds. Yeah.
Hmm.
Uh,
And one thing that really bothers me and I had to take out of my diet is nuts because all Southern kids grew up with nuts. It was always on the table with walnuts and, all kinds of nuts. And you'd run in and you'd grab a handful and go back out and play. And I can't have nuts because of the diverticulitis.
right.
Otis, because itis is when it get infected.
From my understanding, you can't do much fat either, right? Because it's a bile thing. It doesn't, you don't produce very much bile.
No, no fried food, nothing. It has to be broiled or baked, and
Yeah.
not a whole lot of spice, not hot food. I can have beans. I have to watch out for broccoli because it bloats, but they tell me beans are my best thing. And I grew up, like Southern people grew up with beans and nuts. These were staple protein things in your system. So yeah, and I'm really watching what I eat and everything. I don't even like cucumbers or nothing like that. Tomatoes, I'll take the seeds out of them so I don't get sick.
The lectin, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I don't buy bags of already cut up lettuce or anything like that. And
Okay.
I always try to buy fresh lettuce. So no, I really watch what I've eaten.
Okay. Let's circle back to the beans. Okay, that's if you look at the package of a bean, most of it is carbohydrates.
Hmm.
So, and then you're worried about the A1C coming up. So it seems that you're a number person with accounting. Very easy for what you do. Look at the back of the package, look at the carbohydrates, the total carbohydrates, and multiply that by 5. And that's how much your blood sugar raises, how many milligrams. So if a serving of beans is typically about 24 grams of carbohydrates. So let's say 25. 25 times 5 is 125. So it
Yeah.
raises your blood sugar by 125 milligrams per serving. So to get the A1C back down, we need to watch out for those carbs. So I don't recommend beans to anybody in this group right now until they're out of the woods, until they start where they're clear from whatever ailment that they have, if they're pre-diabetic or if they're diabetic, until they get back down to being a non-diabetic. Stay away from the beans. And the protein, I think there's only like 7 grams of protein, so it's really
Yeah.
more carbs than it is protein. Although there is an okay amount. The other thing is that your protein, especially as you get older, when you get older, it doesn't absorb as well as when you're younger. Like anything,
Yeah.
it doesn't work as well. So you need to bring your protein level up higher. The other thing is that the protein from vegetables doesn't absorb nearly as well as from meat. So if you want your protein, get it from your meat sources, not from the beans.
Yeah. No, when I say beans, I'm talking about chickpeas in my salad. I'm not talking about a big bowl of beans. You know, like some chickpeas or black beans in a salad.
Mhm.
And it's not like a whole can full,
Oh.
or if I cook them myself, because I'll cook chickpeas myself. And just put a few in there with the salad and
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
Mhm.
I'm just, and that's fine. I mean, some people like the Hispanics do use refried beans, so they're always using a lot of beans. So
Oh, no,
let's bring the beans up. Okay.
that's got a lot of grease. That's got, in fact, if you go in the Mexican restaurants, they used to use talon, and that's what McDonald's had to do away with, because that's why their fries were so good back in the 60s and the 70s, was they used talon, which is nothing but good old plain lard.
Right.
And that's why the women down south, because that's all they had to cook with, back when I was a kid. And that's why they were so big, is everything was fried and they used lard. And no, but they had to do away from that. And I don't know if the Mexican restaurants did not, but I know McDonald's did. And no, but I don't, it's not refried beans. I don't touch anything. It's fresh beans. And most of the time I cook just a few of them.
Okay. All right.
And I don't like things that are in cans. Even
Right.
though now they have that stuff inside, it's no more aluminum cans like they used to be. But no, I'll cook my chickpeas because by living in Greece and I learned to cook from my mother-in-law. And I follow a lot of times the Mediterranean diet, which is olive oil and a lot of healthy things. And
Right.
you didn't see very many of them people dying of heart attacks and diabetes and stuff.
And the reason behind that is because their carb level is down low. They increase the fat and bring down the carbs. And that's what happened in America is we went into low fat craze. So to make up for the flavor of the fat, they put in a ton of carbs, and that's when we became obese. So it's not, we don't agree on the talon. I agree with using lard and using high fat. keeping the carbs down though. So I do the Mediterranean diet and the ketogenic diet where it's higher in fat and
Mhm.
very low in carbs. So so you're on the right track with the Mediterranean diet. I would probably stick with that.
Well, see, by living over there, I learned to cook my
Right.
food from there. And also I lived in Lebanon for 3 years, and I learned how to cook their food. And everything is olive oil based,
Right.
and fruits and fish. And yeah, you did have a little bit. You had fried, the French fries, but they're cut real small, and you make them yourself, and stuff like that. But and most everything is plant based with
Mhm.
both countries of food, like falafel. That's not meat. It's the chickpeas and the food, because I learned to cook from both countries, and I did away with a lot of Southern cooking. Like fried chicken, fried potatoes with onions in them, some pinto beans and some cornbread. I did away with all of that. I mean, yeah. So other than that, that's basically it. Um, I hope that, this all goes away so that we can actually have real meetings face to face.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Uh, your diet seems pretty good. I think the main thing is that you're not moving around very much. So if you're not
No,
moving,
no,
you're going
no.
to gain weight, and the arthritis is going to get worse because more and more inflammation is going to build up.
Mm-hmm.
So
Actually, oh, I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
I was just going to say that Jovi suggested that you come on for the workout session that we did earlier before you and I just met now. And sometimes it turns people off because the number one thing that most people despise is exercise. So I wanted to talk to you first to see where you were. And it seems like that's what a main thing that's going to be important for you. It would be the
Yeah,
routines.
it is, because I was telling Giovanna, I would just like to go to the basic yoga classes, because now, it's like they stand on their head, and all
Right.
of this. I started with yoga way back in the 60s, and it was basic. And I used to go to, I don't know if you know the place or not, but it was the peace breathing place. It was on Lincoln Avenue. It's the peace, I forgot what the name of it is. They call it institution now. And he would teach you how to breathe. Inhale, whirl, and then exhale. And then you would go and do just basic yoga, exercises. No wrapping your leg around your head and standing up with one shoulder that's dislocated by this time and stuff like that, And there is a lady, she used to be up on Forest Preserve Drive, I think it was. And she would have classes in the evening time at the t-shirt shop that she has. And I talked to her, and she said, well, right now, Sally, we're not doing it because none of us want to die yet, because I need to start just the stretching and stuff, And I was a professional dancer when I was younger, which helps for the arthritis, okay? For many, many years, I was a professional dancer. And yeah, and the sitting around like right now, and just a lot of things that I need to clean up. But it's kind of hard to clean it up when we cannot go and sit with a human and get it done,
Right.
And I mean, I watch stuff and I watch it on TV. Okay, if I do this, but it's not the same because you don't really have human, interaction and stuff.
Okay. So once a month, we do have a lifestyle coach who does yoga. We do breathing techniques and visualization um, to help reduce your stress level and also the stretching as well. Once a month, we have my brother who's a professional chef who comes on, and he's geared more towards the very low carbohydrate. He bumps up the fat with it and the protein, but we reduce the carbohydrates dramatically on that. Then they have me twice a month rather, and doing the science behind the diabetes and also an exercise routine. So every other Wednesday, we'll do an exercise routine and me talking about the science behind it. And then on Sundays, every Sunday at 1 o'clock, we do an exercise routine. So that'll give you twice a week that you'll be able to get some exercise in. Okay. And then Jovi records it, and then she can send you the link so you can use it as many times as you want. So, and I know it sounds like you're old school like me. I like the personal contact, one-on-one, and that's what I've done most of my career. Is I did personal training one-on-one, and then the COVID, it's like you can't. It's just totally different on a screen than being in person. I understand that. So. For right now, I guess that's what we have to do is the coronavirus is due to.
Yeah, if we want to stay alive, I mean, some people think it's all a joke, but I've lost a few friends, and some of them were young, and they didn't, they were college kids, and they didn't believe it, and all of those kids were down in Florida partying. A couple of them died, and they were friends of my brother's kids.
Hmm.
Okay. So no, I don't take anything as a joke when it comes to your health. I really don't. I try very hard. I've been, really, really hard trying to get all of this organized now. Because when you hit 75, you start rethinking your life. And I wanna make sure that I get it healthy before these kids, the other ones out in Nevada, grow up. One's 16, one's 13. My oldest one's 22 years old. And he's over in Michigan. And I joke with him. He said, Granny Sally, right now, I got to get my profession going first and have money in the bank before I start thinking about getting married. And he says, you're a stubborn woman, so I'm sure you're going to hang around for a long time. So, but we come from a small group of people, me and my brothers, and we lost one, like I said. But we came from a small group of people, and most of them died early. My father was 59. My mother died at 70. I mean, when I hit 75, I couldn't believe I was still going. And my older brother, he's going to be 80, and he says, Sister, I never thought I'd live this long either, because all the old people died young. Most of them did. So, yeah. And it's kind of like a miracle, I guess.
Well, the number one thing is you gave up the smoking. Huge thing.
I have COPD from it, and I smoked 35 years of Camel non-filters.
Oh, wow.
Don't pass out on that one. Yes, I honestly did. And when my last daughter, when Sophia got married on my birthday of 2000, I had tried. I was trying. I had gone for, bought the first patch they came out with was called Habotrol, and it was $75 a box. Then eventually, they came out with the ones you could buy in the drugstores and stuff for 30. Those things didn't work. Then my doctor put me on warfarin or something like that. I called him up. I said, I gotta quit taking this shit. I feel like hanging on top of the Hilton Hotel. I'm on the neon sign up here. And he's looking at me. But I read about it, and it's like maybe it helps some people, but I don't need it. And I went to my chiropractor, Dr. Chin, and we discussed acupuncture, and I went for the 3 treatments, and I did real good because I stopped Camels. But it's, hey, Christopher, you got a cigarette? And I was doing OPC, which is other people's cigarettes. And so as soon as Sophie got married in October of 2000, January, and I could not smoke a Camel. I would get sick from it. And I went back in January and had the last 2 treatments of the acupuncture. And I went into work one day, and one of my clerks was a Camel smoker. And I said, Doug, give me one of your cigarettes, because I wanted to see if it's really going to work. Sally, I can't. You're going to fire me. Doug, I'm not going to fire you. I asked for it. I want to see if this stuff really worked. And he says, you're not. I said, I'm not going to fire you. When I go back, I'm going to print up your check. I'm going to sign it. You're not getting fired. I took one puff, and thank God I've always kept clothes at my job. And I took one puff, and a lot of stuff was hanging on my clothes that should not have been there because it came out of me. And I told Doug, I says, you see, I just wanted to see if I was through smoking. And it was the truth. I can be around people and they stink of cigarettes, and have no desire whatsoever. So that was in January of '01.
Oh,
So
good.
a lot of years.
Oh,
But
yeah.
the damage you do to your lungs is you end up with COPD.
Right.
And mine is not bad because I keep it under control. I do all the medicine. My pulmonologist tells me, I go for the checkups on it and everything. And he keeps telling me, he says, it's not regressing, Sally. It's staying right where it's at. And you're not bad. And I don't cough or very seldom do I cough. And I do my inhaler and I can go up 21 steps. And Giovanna can tell you it's 21 steps here. Yeah. So, and she's done good because I'll tell you, when I saw her, I mean, I couldn't believe how much weight she had lost and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a whole person smaller.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because I would see her at the bank and I kept looking at her and and she says, yeah, I'm trying to lose weight, Sally. I'm trying to lose weight. And then, the more we talked and everything, and then the next time I saw her, it was like, where's the other Giovanna? That's not all of you. Yeah, so no, she has done really, really great. And I need to get on the bandwagon.
Yeah. Yeah, she works it. We do, she's very determined with it, and she'll do whatever she needs to get it done. And not everybody's like that. So we do it off of hormones. Weight, like I said, your body doesn't know what a calorie is. Your body knows what hormones are. So whatever you feed your body, it dictates what your hormones do, which dictates your health. So the way that we were able to do this is that we did blood work throughout, like every 3 months, I think, Jovi, right?
Yes.
So we work off of appetite hormones. We work off of inflammatory markers. So I'm very into the science part of it, and that's how I make people lose weight, rather than saying stop eating this food, and start moving more like what your doctors say. It hardly ever works because your thyroid becomes an issue. So if your
Yeah.
thyroid isn't working properly, you're never ever going to lose the weight. Even if you stop eating and you work out 24 hours a day, you'll keep gaining weight. So this is why we do the blood work, so we can see what's going on the inside of you and make adjustments for that. So we can do, I don't know how determined you are with losing the weight. We could do the same thing. We've got a doctor over here who would test whatever I ask for as many times as you like to. And from the lab results, then I'm able to make decisions of how we're going to go about making you lose the weight.
Uh-huh.
So, Joey, your goal is 155. Is that what it is?
No, I weigh
150.
142.
150. Okay.
142.
Oh, Jovi. I was asking Jovi what her goal weight was.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
So she's at 150. You're at 161 last I remember.
Yes, I'm at 161.
Okay. Yeah. So and you started off at
285.
285.
It's a shame we can't get what's her name there. You know what I'm talking about, Giovanna, right?
Christina,
Yeah.
she doesn't want to. So
I
I won't burst anyone.
No,
Yeah.
no. But it would be nice because then she would probably find a boyfriend and stuff like that. And I love her, I think the world of her.
Yeah.
But I mean, the food that she eats, it's not going to happen. And I also found out that in the autoimmune, people who have autoimmune disease, weight is one of the problems.
Mhm.
Rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, Crohn's disease, MS, and there is a disease also because this happened to my friend Becky up in Wisconsin. Her daughter was always slim and she was a cheerleader for the high school and everything. And the last time I saw her, Amy put on over 200 pounds and Becky took her to the hospital. And they found out that she had this autoimmune disease, not her thyroid or anything. She didn't eat unhealthy because her father's an anesthesiologist at the hospital. And they were very particular about, how clean the food was and stuff. And it was really sad. So a lot of times weight has to do with an autoimmune disease too. So
Mhm.
yeah. And you were talking about the inflammation with arthritis. I have it in my neck And a couple months ago, they, ever since my gastro problem really started acting up, was in March when I started, because my diverticulitis got mad about all these nuts I had stored in my gut, just like the squirrels store their nuts in a tree. While I was storing them there. And so anyway, they couldn't figure out why I would tell them I cannot swallow my food. It gets stuck. And they were trying to put this thing down that has the little x-ray things to see if maybe one of the muscles in my esophagus was not working good. And then they did the barium, 3 different types of barium x-rays. I still couldn't find it. Well, then when they did the esophagram, they found that the inflammation in those top bones of in my neck, pressing on my esophagus. So I had to take anti-inflammatories for 7 days to get the inflammation to go down, because the food would get stuck, like we got that little hole up there. It would get down and then it would just stop right in there. And it was caused by that inflammation. So.
Hmm.
Mhm.
Do you take any anti-inflammatory products?
I don't think I do.
Okay.
No. Because right now I'm only taking the medicine that, was prescribed to me. I don't take aspirins and stuff like that. I used to take ibuprofen, but then it messed up, my stomach. I'm taking you
Okay.
for a walk that I shouldn't, because I'm lazy today. I didn't clean all my house yet. I told you about I needed to do it. Like, I take this dicyclamine. Hang on, you don't even have your glasses on. I take blood pressure pills that, and now he prescribed this, what the heck is it for? Oh, for the cholesterol. And I read stuff about it, and he told me, he said, if you don't want to take it, don't take it. I said, well, I read all of the things that could and should may happen. I said, I don't know, I have to think about it. I take metformin once a day for the A1C.
Right.
And then I take this, you can't see it with your glasses. Oh, mirzaprazole. How's that?
I don't know. When it comes to medications, I kind of like stay away from them. I know some of the diabetic medications, but yeah, medications are great for the acute purposes, but for long term, for the rest of your life, I don't believe that medications are designed to do that.
They're not designed to last forever.
No.
And my neighbor, who is a full-blown diabetic, she stopped taking it. She says, you need to read about it, Sally. So,
Right.
And I've
Yeah.
asked friends out in Elk Grove Village that, Jamie, his A1C went up to like 13 or something, but he's a Southern boy, and he actually, basically, there's probably 2 people living inside of him. That's how big he got. And I told him, I said, well, I'm going to take it for a while, and then I'm going to make a judgment on it, because I don't know if it helps or what. I think more of what I eat will help me get my A1C, because that's only 6.1.
Right.
And Doc told me, he says, if it goes if it goes up to 7, Sally, then you're a diabetic. And I don't eat sweets anymore, only vegetables and fruit, and fish and chicken occasionally, and beef. I'll make like a steak on my indoor grill.
Okay.
And I can't eat bloody meat.
I want to kind of correct what the doctor said with the 7.0 being a diabetic. That's a level where they consider, up until a 7.0, they consider you being able to manage your diabetes with food and lifestyle. But you really become a diabetic, you're clinically diagnosed at a 6.5 when you've been 2 consecutive tests at 6.5. Then you're clinically being a type 2 diabetic. It's not 7.0.
You know something? He did tell me that in the beginning.
Okay.
The 6.5. Yeah, he did tell me that, because I write down a lot of stuff, and I remember him telling me that. That was last year when he told me. So I
Okay.
write down stuff, and actually I have my doctors send me every test I have. I want to have it all in my medical records, you know.
Okay.
Yeah, because they just, I was just out in Elbow Village to the doctor out there, and they took my blood to find out about, and he says, "Did you know you got high cholesterol?" And I says, "Well, not really. I mean, I don't have any side effects or anything." He says, "Yeah, it's 208." And I said, "Well, I guess all them potato chips and stuff I ate when I was on the prednisone for the sinus infection back when I lived out there, I guess I didn't help at 3 o'clock in the morning, hiring a hoot owl on prednisone, eating a big bag of Lay's potato chips from Walmart, the family size. That didn't help,
Yeah,
you
you
know."
didn't get the individual, how you got the family pack and decided to have it all, huh?
Well, I don't know if you've ever had prednisone or not, but 3 o'clock in the morning, I got the vacuum cleaner and out of the closet and sitting in the living room in a chair. And I have a neighbor downstairs that I really, really liked. And I grabbed the potato chips. Then I got the TV on and I ordered one of those new wave ovens, buy one, get one free. I've never watched that stuff ever. And I'm like, oh my God, And I realized I can't vacuum the floor. And here is a half a bag of potato chips in my gut.
Hmm.
Uh-huh. Yeah. And
Yeah.
this stuff, I mean, serious, this stuff made me so high. And I called my ENT guy and he was laughing. He says, "Sally, come springtime, I have to give it to my mother because of her allergies and the sinus infections and stuff." And he says, "My dad tells me, this is the worst thing you can do for your mother because she's up cleaning the house at 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the morning." So yeah, and medication can make you do bad things like eat a big bag of potato chips. So I'm
Yeah.
blaming it on the medication. But it's true. I mean, I've always loved potato chips, but that 3 o'clock in the morning episode with ordering junk off of those TV shows and wanting clean the vacuum the floor with my neighbor downstairs and stuff. Yeah. So, and I stopped doing that. So I don't do that anymore. Yeah.
Good. Yeah, so why don't we start off with your water thing,
Okay.
take little baby steps. Wednesday, we'll do a workout at the beginning of the session at 7:30 p.m.
Now, hopefully my internet will be back on and we can.
Okay.
Wednesday, 7:30, and stop the water, fool. Not you. Okay, early. All right. See,
And then,
I write stuff down to remind myself.
no, you're probably, besides Jovi, you're probably one of the most informed of the group because you do your own research. Most people don't do the research. He listens to the doctor, and the doctor's job is to prescribe medications. So let's try to get you off those. Metformin, what it does, one of the main functions that they use it for is to get your liver to stop producing glucose. So that's what metformin is. But you're at a 6.1. So what happens at a 6.1 is that you're at, it's called beta cell dysfunction. The beta cells, and this would be great for you because now you can read up on this. The beta cells produce insulin. So your insulin is what gets the sugar out of your blood and puts it into the cells. So as you become more and more pre-diabetic and diabetic, your blood sugar levels keep going up, up, and up. So your body has to keep producing more and more and more insulin. And pretty soon it gets worn out and it can't produce the beta cell mass starts decreasing, not only the amount of them, but also the size of them starts decreasing. So they're not able to produce as much insulin. So now your blood sugar keeps going up and the insulin can't perform what it used to do. So it starts going down. And that's the point that you're at right now. Yeah, the 6.1. Okay, you've been pretty much flat, and all of a sudden what it does is a hockey stick. It goes like this and it goes up like that. So we're trying to get that down back to normal, to 5.7. A couple of our members in here, they went from 6.1 to 6.4 within 3 months. It's very quick. And then you become a diabetic because you're at that, you're not producing as much insulin anymore. So it's all being stored in your blood. And what it does is it goes into your liver it goes into your heart, it goes into your pancreas, it goes into all your organs. And this is why you have all these conditions that happen from type 2 diabetes. You get heart attacks. 75% of diabetic deaths are from heart attacks, from heart disease. Your pancreas is not supposed to have fat in there, so we need to get the fat out of there. It's called ectopic fat. So we need to get that out of there. We need to get it out of your liver, and we need to get it out of your heart and muscles. So to do that is we do it through fasting and a ketogenic diet or a Mediterranean diet, very low carbohydrate diet, because it's carbohydrates that are killing you. So your body doesn't work well with carbohydrates at this point. So we need to knock those out of you, and to make up for flavor and for calories, we have to bump up the protein and the fat. Okay, so use more olive oil in your stuff. Look at packages, try to get the carbohydrates down as low as possible, specifically the sugars, obviously, but total carbohydrate, trying to get that number down lower, as low as possible, so that your body can work. Your body works off of glucose and ketones. So when you don't have glucose, your body has ketones, which can be produced in the glucose. So technically, we don't really need carbohydrates. We need fats because of essential fatty acids that our bodies can't produce. We need to eat those. And we need essential amino acids that come from proteins. That's why we eat the meats. But there's no such thing as the essential carbohydrate. Our bodies produce all the glucose that it needs. So we don't need it. And then they'll say that your brain needs the glucose, but your brain actually works better off of ketones than it does off of than glucose. Okay. So let's focus more on fasting. I'm sure you've heard of intermittent fasting before. Okay. How long do you usually go without eating between meals?
I don't really even look at meals. I wake up in the morning, I'm not hungry. I only have something to eat when I actually am hungry.
Okay.
Because people have a tendency to think they have to have 3 meals a day. And I wake up and I didn't eat anything until 12 o'clock today.
Okay.
I woke up, I don't have a need for food. I don't need it. Because I'm used to fasting for actually sometimes 40 days in Greece because of the Easter and everything. And it got down to where like the last week you could have vegetables, a few vegetables, no oil, no nothing, no cheese, no bread. And you can have a little bit of rice. And I do fast. Or else I live off of matzo ball soup and things like that.
Okay.
I don't really have a craving for food a lot of times. And it's not heavy food anymore. I love canned sardines though. Crackers. See, now crackers are a guilt. They're not good for you either. Because there's a lot of carbs in them, if I'm not mistaken, because it's
refined. So we need to figure out why your A1C is up at 6.1. So why don't we start doing, it's called a food journal. And Jovi, you have the spreadsheet, right? We sent it out to a few people before.
Yes.
Okay. So let's start writing down what you're reading and at what time. So we need to figure out why your A1C is going up. So it sounds like you have a pretty clean diet, and it sounds like you're not eating that much, which leads me to think that you've got some issue going on with your thyroid, which has been the case with several of my clients in the past. So maybe that'll be a test that we might want to do sometime in the future. But right now, let's log what you're eating and at what time.
okay.
And see what's going on here, because I don't know why your A1C would be going up with the diet that you're telling me. And you're also telling me that you don't eat for from pretty much 5 o'clock until 12 o'clock the next day.
Well, 5 o'clock in the morning, when I get up. A lot of people, when they wake up, by 6, 7 o'clock, they have breakfast.
Right.
When I wake up, I'm not really hungry. I have 1 cup of decaf coffee, and I like to drink water. And so far today, I had a bowl of raisin bran, and a little bit of milk on them. Okay, and that was it. And I'm
okay.
full.
So the raisin bran has got a lot of sugar in it, And this is the misconception that food marketers have led us into thinking is healthy. They
Mhm.
say that Raisin Bran is healthy because it's got raisins are good for you, and the bran, we need bran because it's a grain. Our bodies really don't need grain. Remember, we don't really need carbohydrates. Grains have only been introduced into our diet about 10, 12,000 years ago. We've been around for 8 million years. So, and the copious amounts of grains that we're eating, our pancreas has not evolved to be able to deal with all that. So that's why so many people are diabetic these days, or overweight as well.
Uh-huh.
So we need to figure out a different cereal or a different breakfast. Well, you like eggs, right? You
Normally
eat
it's
eggs.
oatmeal. Normally it's oatmeal, but this morning I wanted something cold, actually, and but no, I normally eat oatmeal all the
Okay.
time.
Oatmeal again is all carbs.
Oh, is
So,
it?
and one of my doctor friends did a test because all the doctors advising people to eat oatmeal if they're diabetic. He did a test on some of his clients, and he found that the oatmeal, 2 hours after it, their glucose levels are still sky high from oatmeal. So we need to think about backing off on that. And I'm not expecting you to just like cut cold turkey. Let's gradually go back if you need to. But if you're the type of personality where you can say no and just stop, then that's great too. But if you need to take baby steps, that's fine too. Okay. So,
Pardon me for interrupting. My mother was an RN, and we were always told oatmeal was good for us. Mhm.
you know, Joey and I was talking about this last
Going
week.
back in the
I used
50s.
to, I'm sorry.
We're going back in the 50s, 1950.
Well, things were different back then. Today, we've got chemicals in all our foods. All our foods are raised GMO, it's all genetically modified. It's all enhanced to make it taste better so that you eat more of it. And it's not, so any kind of chemical, Monsanto with the herbicides, pesticides, and everything, that's a chemical causing toxins and a stress in us, which is making us gain weight. So you already don't want the fertilizers and stuff. That's why you go to the cow, the farmer, and everything. So, yeah, the foods 50 years ago are completely different than what the foods are today. The doctors, and I've dated doctors and RNs, and all of them are about medications. They're not about health. They're trained on medications. They're trained in chemistry. They're not trained in health. A doctor takes one class to get his doctorate degree. I don't think a nurse even takes a nutritional class from what I know of her.
That's
So
why I call them drug pushers whenever I go see my doctors. Hey, how's my local drug dealer doing? And they laugh
exactly,
at me.
they're drug dispensers is what they are.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so I would never go to an MD myself. I go to a DO, a doctor of osteopath, or you can go to NP, a naturopathologist. These doctors, they're still doctors, but they go a holistic way and use medications as a last resort, and they try to get you off medications as quickly as possible. Whereas MD wants to get you on medication as quickly as possible and keep you on them for the rest of your life. So that's the big difference between the different type of physicians. Is I would go to a DO.
Yeah, well, my original doctor was on Belmont, Dr. Peplow. He was a DO. He was just a
There you go.
doctor. Yeah, and he retired. And I went to his son out in Elk Grove Village, and Michael and his sister, they all moved to Hawaii. And so I ended up with one of his sister's partners in the group that she was with. And I don't like taking a lot of pills. I really don't. The only thing I take probably a lot of is vitamins. And I trust vitamins. And there's a lot of stuff that I believe in Chinese medicine.
Right.
Yeah. So, and I don't like taking a lot of stuff. That's why when he sent these, the script for that cholesterol drug, and I started reading about it. As soon as I saw the name and I started reading about it, now he had told me, he says, if you don't want it, Sally, don't take it. Now, what do you, I says, well, you do what you think is right. Well, he sent a prescription in. I got the, the flyer thing that the drugstore puts on the bag. And I'm sitting here reading and I knew the names. So now I go on the computer and I read all about it. I don't want the side effects that could happen because a lot of times
Right.
could happen might come true. you know, so, I mean, and it could be a gradual, might come true on you. You don't know it. And so now there's certain things that the doctor gives me. I don't want to take them at all. And I just call the drugstore and tell them I want to cancel it.
You know what, with the cholesterol, because I have high cholesterol myself, it's hereditary. There's different tests because they just do the plain simple test with your cholesterol level. Same thing with your thyroid. There's specific tests that you can do with your cholesterol to see if you really do have a cholesterol problem. And also, as you get older, it's actually better for you to have a little bit higher cholesterol.
Mhm.
Okay. Define higher cholesterol. I haven't heard a doctor through all the doctors I've learned from and who I study and everything. I haven't heard anybody define high
Mhm.
because it could be different for everybody. We're all individuals. So the higher cholesterol would have to be determined by your doctor. And if your doctor believes in that, whereas a DO and an NP will believe in that. Okay.
Mhm.
If you want the specific test for cholesterol, I could find my lab work that I do, and I could shoot that over to you.
Mhm. You know,
It's,
when pardon me for interrupting, Christopher, I had an appointment with my gastro doctor, you know, it's just a follow up last week. And I mentioned he was working from home. And so the physician's assistant that has worked for him, she's almost out and got her doctoring degree. Okay. And we were talking. I says, yeah, the only thing is, and I didn't have the medicine yet. And I told her, I said, well, yeah, my A1C is this. And also my cholesterol, I was told, because I did blood tests, and I was told that it's high because it's 208. She said, that's not high.
right.
And, you know, because she is a physician assistant, she's not going to do any BSing because she wants to go ahead and get her degree and become a doctor.
Right.
Okay. And so when she did the phone conversation with Dr. Ori, she told him, she said, well, Sally tells me that her GP told her that her cholesterol is high. And he asked me, Sally, what is it? I said, well, I was told it was 208. He says, that's not high. He says, you have to judge on the person, really, than the
Right.
test sometimes. Now, this was my gastro guy, and he's an Indian doctor. And I trust the Indian doctors a lot better than I do the American doctors
I totally agree with you. Yeah.
and the Asian doctors because they are trained. If they come in the old country with their training, they are trained better than the American physicians. Now, I'm not knocking a whole bunch of them, but when you come out of India, did you ever notice that most of the spelling bees today are won by Indian children?
They spell very well.
And that's what I mean. They're more highly educated than the American kids are because whatever you are good at school, whether you're Asian or you're Indian, they take what you're extremely good in and they channel you to go that profession. Because a lot of times, have you ever been asked to, I'm sure you had a lot of American history and stuff like that when you were in school. Have you ever had to use any of that knowledge?
Nope.
That's what I mean. See, and and my dad was a school teacher too, but he taught special ed. And we teach our kids all this unnecessary stuff that they will never ever use. And especially today, because when I was a kid, we had the Encyclopedia Britannica. You wanted to know something, you looked it up. Today we have the computers and all this unnecessary. Nobody gives a crap about what went on 100 years, 200 years ago. Because people who major in history, they are the ones that never find a job. True.
I know it. It's completely true. Right. You know, it's because of what America is. America is a capitalistic country, so it's all about making money. So that's why we go straight to the drugs. The pharmaceutical industry dictates our healthcare system. It governs it because it pays all the bills. So the FDA, over 50% of the FDA budget comes from pharmaceutical industry. So that's why, especially with this coronavirus, the vaccine has been already approved. It's coming in tomorrow, actually. All the shipments are coming in tomorrow morning. So historically, for a medication to make it to the market, it has to go through all these tests. Usually it takes about 10 years and it costs over $1 billion.
Mhm.
They did this coronavirus vaccine in 8 months. I do not trust it whatsoever. Plus, I know what's in some of those products, which I don't want in my body.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't trust it. The Asian Indians and the Asian Chinese and everything, I trust them because of, like you said, the way that they're schooled over there. The pharmaceutical industry does not dictate their healthcare system. They're more into really helping people get healthy. Medications being the last thing. They try holistic things first, whereas we go straight to the drugs. So yeah, I would listen to your Asian doctor, so long as he is on the same page as you, where medications is the last resort. The cholesterol, 199. If you're above 199, they say you have high cholesterol. You're at 208, so you're not high. Just, I was going to say that, but I don't want to sound like I'm a doctor because I'm not a doctor. But I'm glad that some people are looking out.
Yeah, it's to push the pill. That's it, basically.
Exactly. So that's why I did other tests before you do go on a stent. But I don't think that I shouldn't say because I'm not a doctor, but your doctors have that you're not high at all. So, all
Yeah,
right.
well, that's basically what Dr. Ori said on this, this phone call. He said, "That's not high, Sally." He
Right.
says, don't get yourself stressed out over things that can be fixed. Now, pardon me. I believe in holistic things a lot more than I do. Actually, it's the pill pushing because they're the local legal drug dealers now. It's what
Right.
pharmacists are, and the doctors writing the script.
Yep.
No, and I just don't like taking a lot of stuff. And I've got a friend out in Glen Ellen, and she did away with all prescriptions, everything. And she has gone totally holistic. And she calls me and lets me know, if you start getting this, this, and this, I want you to order these pills. They come from China, blah, 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 blah. And believe it or not, my cold, whatever it was gone instantly. And Karen has always been right, because they were trying to prescribe her drugs that were like $700, $800. She said, "I'm not paying that." I said, "Well, hell, we'd be better off buying pot on the street corner, huh?" Back before it became legal and stuff, But no, I have a few of those.
So, okay. Well, I'd love to talk to you longer, but I've got to get some stuff done before the day is over. So why don't we get started with that? Let's figure out what you're eating, what times you're eating, and make some adjustments. As we already now know, Raisin Bran's not good, oatmeal's not good. Let's try eggs. You can have bacon if you from Whole Foods, as long as there's no sodium nitrate. You want to watch out for that.
Okay.
So I have eggs and bacon every day. So I get the Whole Foods sodium nitrate free bacon.
Yeah, I know, but I can't eat fried stuff. I mean, I love bacon, but I can't eat fried stuff.
The fat's too much. It's too much fat.
Well, yeah, it's the grease right now until I can get this gastro problem straightened out.
Okay.
Because, from the acid reflux from my youth when I used to drink and lay out all night long and act stupid and stuff, you eventually change the lining of your esophagus and it gets like your intestine lining.
Huh.
Yeah. And he said, back away from the bacon, eggs, you
Okay.
can have hard boiled. Let's leave the fried stuff alone for a while till we can get this problem straightened out in your gastro system. Because it's horrible when it's messed up and you go to the bathroom to do your bowel. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. And I've got another friend over there and we discuss it. And sometimes it's the first one is like the size of a golf ball. Next one might be the size of a damn 16-inch foot. Okay, so a golf ball, a 16-inch softball. I mean, it's horrible feeling, and I'm trying to get that corrected first and foremost and eating right now is fried food is like off limits for a while.
Got it. Okay. So is
Alrighty,
the seeds.
thank you. And we will go on further because it works for my buddy that's sitting there, okay? And she's been trying to get me to do it, but I've been trying to get my health organized and everything. So All righty, you need to get to work. I need to vacuum my floor, by the way. Okay, so I think what we're meeting Wednesday. Is that it? Is that the
At
next
7:30, right.
7:30? Okay. And
Be
hopefully
prepared to do a workout.
I will try. I will
That's all I can-
honestly, I
That's
will
all I
try.
can ask for is for you to try. And everybody, I've got, my mother is in the group. She's 78. We have a couple, Martha is how old is Martha? 72, 68.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's older people in there. So you just do whatever you can and then work as hard as you can. That's all I ask.
Okay. All right. And hopefully my internet will be back on because Comcast, I'm going to let them know I'm going to stop paying them if they don't come on. But evidently where I'm at is a dead zone. And I guess a lot of people are on their computers a lot of times, you know, especially working from home and with
Right.
the homeschool teaching with the children. And actually it just came back on because I'm looking at my little dots on my modem and stuff. And so, yeah, and I can put this on there, which is a lot easier to see than on the phone. You
Right.
can't very well exercise looking at the phone, you know, it's like, it doesn't work like that, all right? So I'm glad that Giovanna convinced me that I need to do this, okay?
Perfect. All right. Well, I look forward to getting results with you and working with you and see how we're going to take these steps with our strategy of getting you off the metformin being my number one goal. And I understand that the greasy food and everything, I completely understand you want to focus on that as well. So let's try to get those two things under control and get you feeling better.
All right, thank you.
You're
Have a
so
good
welcome.
evening. All right,
You too.
it was nice meeting you. Bye-bye.
It was a pleasure meeting you. Bye-bye.
Bye.